On Venus, there is an optical phenomenon similar to a rainbow, but it's called a glory. Instead of raindrops, tiny particles of sulfuric acid in the planet's dense atmosphere create it. As a result, bright-colored circles appear in the sky, resembling a glowing halo. Imagine not the familiar arc above the rain, but a true cosmic aura. This shows that even on other planets, nature puts on its own light and color shows, albeit with different ingredients. And even though Venus is distant and harsh, it can also be beautiful. Beneath the ice of Antarctica lie entire mountain ranges comparable to the Alps. The Gamburtsev Mountains represent a true hidden world. Their size rivals that of the Alps, but they remain unseen, covered by a layer of ice more than 3 kilometers thick. These mountains formed around 100 million years ago, yet thanks to their icy armor, they have remained almost in their pristine state. There may be valleys, rivers, and even subglacial lakes, as if frozen in time. Scientists study them only through radar and satellites. Thus, right beneath the feet of the polar explorers lies a vast world about which we know almost nothing. The most numerous bird in the world is neither the sparrow nor the pigeon, but the tiny red-billed qualia. This small bird, found in Africa south of the Sahara, gathers in massive flocks and literally devastates grain fields. For farmers, they are a true plague. Thousands of these birds can strip a harvest in just a few hours. The flocks of quailias are so enormous that they appear like a moving cloud. Scientists consider them the most abundant bird species on Earth. Ironically, in cities we tend to view pigeons as symbols of mass presence, but the record actually belongs to these small African weavers. You've probably noticed that sometimes chocolate develops a white coating. Many people think it's spoiled, but no, it's just fat bloom, when cocoa butter rises to the surface due to temperature changes. The taste remains almost unchanged, and this chocolate is safe to eat. It's as if the bar has grayed from stress, looking odd on the outside, but still sweet on the inside. Interestingly, manufacturers sometimes explain this on the packaging so that people don't get scared. So if you see that white coating, don't throw it away. Just give it a second chance. Scientists warn that by the middle of the 21st century, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Imagine looking at the sea and realizing that what swims beneath the surface isn't a school of sardines, but bottles and bags. Right now, millions of tons of waste are forming entire islands of garbage. The problem is that plastic takes hundreds of years to decompose, breaking down into microplastics that enter fish organisms and then our food. This outlook is alarming, but it also serves as a motivation. The sooner we change our habits, the greater the chance we have to keep the ocean alive and clean. In English, there is a word, strengths, and it is special. It is the longest word with just one vowel. Despite its simplicity, it symbolizes strength, resilience, and endurance. It's amusing that such a word is unique in its structure. It contains 8 consonants in a row, yet it sounds easy and familiar. This little linguistic record shows that even in words, we can find our own championships. Language, like nature, holds its secrets and wonders, and sometimes they are hidden in the most ordinary things, in a word we use almost every day. In 2006, a fisherman from the Philippines accidentally caught a giant pearl weighing a whopping 34 kilograms. He kept it under his bed as a talisman for 10 years, unaware of its value. It later turned out that the find was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Imagine, an ordinary fishing trip turned into a treasure larger than a football. The pearl was named the Pearl of Lao Tzu and is still regarded as one of nature's most astonishing discoveries. The starfish eats in a rather unusual way. It turns its stomach inside out and wraps it around its prey, such as a shell. The food is digested externally and then the stomach is pulled back in. It's like a portable container. Take it out, eat, and put it away. This method allows the starfish to handle prey that is difficult to swallow whole. It's amusing that behind the calm appearance of these sea creatures lies such a trick with their stomachs. They seem to know the secret to an unconventional approach to eating. In Bhutan, almost half of the residents walk to work every day. The roads there don't always accommodate cars, and the mountainous terrain makes walking a natural part of life. Imagine, in the morning people ascend trails with views of the Himalayas, and in the evening, they return the same way. For them, it's not about sports or fitness, it's just a regular means of getting around. Perhaps that's why Bhutanese are considered some of the happiest people. They connect work with nature every day, breathe fresh air, and enjoy stunning landscapes. Imagine an animal that can live its entire life without drinking a single drop of water. This is the kangaroo rat, a small rodent found in the arid regions of North America. They obtain all the moisture they need from the seeds they eat. Their bodies are designed so that their kidneys process moisture extremely efficiently, resulting in urine that is thick and almost paste-like. Because of this, they thrive in conditions where even camels would struggle. Remarkably, these tiny creatures have proven to be more resilient than animals renowned for their ability to endure thirst. Nature seems to have crafted them as a symbol of survival in the desert. Sharks are eternal swimmers. They lack a swim bladder, which keeps most fish at the right depth. To avoid sinking and suffocating, they must keep moving all the time. Water flows through their gills, and that's the only way they get oxygen. Imagine having to walk your entire life with no right to sit down or lie down to sleep. For a shark, this is normal. Even in sleep, it continues to swim, moving slowly and calmly. So the ocean is for it both a bed and a road, a home all at once, a true marathon that lasts a lifetime. Today, the Earth's population has surpassed 8 billion people. Imagine, that's 8 billion stories, voices, smiles, and destinies. For comparison, in just the last 100 years, we've quadrupled in number. Once, only a few million people lived on the planet, and now that many can reside in a single large city. This figure prompts us to think about the future. Will resources be sufficient? Will we learn to care for the planet? Yet at the same time, 8 billion represents 8 billion opportunities, ideas, and discoveries that could change the world. In the tropical forests of Papua New Guinea lives a creature that is easily overlooked, the smallest frog in the world. It measures just 7.7 millimeters, less than a centimeter. Weighing about 1/100th of a gram, it hides among the leaves, appearing as a tiny dot. But don't be fooled into thinking it's quiet. Its voice resembles the buzz of an insect and can be heard from a considerable distance. This little one demonstrates that nature can create not only giants like whales and elephants, but also incredible miniature champions. It's astonishing how life and energy can fit into such a microscopic body. In Slovenia, archaeologists discovered a wooden wheel that is about 5,000 years old. It was made from ash and secured with oak wedges. For its time, it was a true engineering marvel, a component that allowed people to transport heavy loads and build new roads. Imagine an ancient craftsman who first thought to turn a log into a circle and fit it onto an axle. From that moment, an entire era began. The wheel became a symbol of progress. And although it looks somewhat crude, it is from such finds that the history of all modern machines and trains began. The very first sound recording appeared in the 18th century, long before Edison's phonograph. The Frenchman Edouard Léon Scott de Martinville used a device called the phonautograph in 1860. It couldn't reproduce sound. It only left traces of sound waves on a glass plate. It wasn't until a century and a half later that scientists were able to decode these lines and heard a voice singing a French song. Thus, the first sounds were preserved as a ghost of the past, which could only come to life thanks to modern technology. Strangely enough, little Albania has turned into a country of bunkers. In the mid-20th century, dictator Enver Hoxha ordered the construction of defensive structures in case of war. The result was around 700,000 concrete bunkers scattered across the country. They were placed on the shores, in the mountains, and backyards, and even near schools. The country resembled a stone anthill. Today, many bunkers are abandoned. Some have been transformed into cafes, museums, and even housing. For tourists, they are a curiosity, while for Albanians, they serve as a reminder of a time when the fear of war was literally embedded in the landscape. In psychology, there is an intriguing phenomenon known as the wonderful women effect. Research has shown that both men and women tend to attribute more positive qualities to women. The term wonderful women effect emerged in the 1990s when sociologists noticed that women received more flattering ratings in surveys than men. Interestingly, women themselves exhibited even greater bias than men. This doesn't mean that women are always better. Rather, society subconsciously idealizes them. Such an effect can even influence politics, careers, or court decisions, as perception often outweighs facts. The Sahara is not just a sea of sand, but also a place where it can sing. Some dunes emit a low hum or even melodic sounds when the sand slips down their slopes. It's like an organ built right into the desert. The reason lies in the unique shape and size of the grains. They rub against each other and create vibrations. Imagine walking on a dune, and suddenly the entire mound starts to resonate, as if alive. Travelers describe this sound as enchanting and mystical. It's no wonder that local tribes have legends about spirits singing in the sands. In 2017, Emma Morano from Italy passed away, the last person born in the 19th century. She lived to be 117 years old and witnessed a world changing faster than ever before. Imagine, in her childhood, there were no airplanes or televisions, and by the end of her life, people were using smartphones and the internet. She experienced 2 world wars, dozens of rulers, and an entire era. Emma's story serves as a reminder that each person carries a whole library of time within them, and with her passing, the last page of the 19th century was turned. Rabbits are cute and fluffy, but they have an interesting feature. Their bodies are designed in such a way that they cannot vomit. Food moves through their system in only one direction, which helps them avoid unnecessary energy loss. On one hand, this is a plus. Rabbits don't suffer from nausea. On the other hand, it's a downside. If they eat something harmful, they can't get rid of it. That's why the owners of these domestic little ears always monitor their diet. It's amusing that such delicate animals have a system that is more rigid than that of many predators. Many have noticed the small colored squares at the bottom of toothpaste tubes. Rumors claim that they indicate the composition. Green means natural, red means chemical. But in reality, these are just marks for machines at the factory. They help accurately position the tube during packaging and labeling. The color of the square is not related to the ingredients, it's simply a technical marker. It turns out we've been attributing significance to ordinary paint stripes for decades. It's amusing how easily myths are born. A small square can transform into a secret code, when in fact it's only meant for the assembly line. If you take a standard deck of 52 cards and shuffle it well, you can't even imagine what you're holding in your hands. The number of possible combinations is so vast that it can be expressed with 60 zeros. Imagine shuffling the cards, and almost certainly you get a unique order that has never existed in human history and will never exist again. Each time, it's like creating a new universe right on the table. Playing cards after this feels like real magic. A simple game transforms into a journey through infinite possibilities. Even a regular game of Durac or poker suddenly gains special significance, as in your hands a unique combination is born that will vanish forever the moment you gather the cards back. Did you know that avocado can be deadly for animals? For humans, this fruit is beneficial. Vitamins, healthy fats, trendy toasts. But for birds and horses, avocado is toxic. A substance called persin in their bodies causes severe poisoning, sometimes with fatal outcomes. So what is a superfood for us is a poison for animals. This serves as a reminder that we can't measure everything by human standards. Even familiar foods can be dangerous if an organism isn't adapted to them. What is beneficial for one form of life can be harmful to another. For a long time, scientists were unaware that the strange transparent larva was a future eel. They believed for a long time that the leptocephalus was a separate species of fish. Its transparent, almost glass-like body with a long shape does not resemble any adult ocean dweller. But then it turned out that this is just a stage in the development of the eel. Such an unexpected masquerade of nature. The tiny larva lives its own life and then gradually transforms into the eel we know. Discoveries like this always surprise in science. It turns out that some of the new species are merely disguised teenagers of old acquaintances. It seems obvious that matches came first and then lighters, but it's the other way around. The first lighter was invented in 1823, while matches appeared 3 years later. It was created by the German chemist Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner and operated on hydrogen. The device looked bulky and dangerous, but the principle was the same: a spark and a flame. So the familiar pocket item once resembled a laboratory instrument. It's ironic that lighters are older than matches, even though matches are now seen as the more ancient way to make fire. Some mushrooms have the amazing ability to glow in the dark. This process is called bioluminescence. At night, they emit a soft green light in the forest, creating a fairy tale atmosphere. Scientists believe this glow attracts insects that spread spores and help the mushrooms propagate. For humans, it appears as true magic. Walking along a path and seeing the ground beneath your feet illuminated by mysterious lights. It's no wonder such mushrooms have inspired legends and tales. It serves as a reminder that even in the most ordinary grove, one can find wonder if they look closely at night. Today, the computer mouse is a familiar accessory, lightweight and made of plastic. However, the first mouse, created in 1964 by engineer Douglas Engelbart, was made of wood. Inside, there were metal wheels that tracked movement across the table. The device looked strange and bulky, but it marked the beginning of a new era. It's hard to believe that from such a simple wooden box, modern touchpads and wireless gadgets emerged. This story serves as a reminder. Great technologies often arise from very humble beginnings, and sometimes all it takes is one wooden experiment to change the world. In Sweden, donors receive a message on their phone when their blood is used to save someone's life. Imagine, you donate blood, and a couple of days later, you get an SMS saying, "Thank you, today your blood helped a patient." It's not only a nice gesture, but also gives a sense that your action truly matters. People start donating blood more often because they see the results right on their phones. This simple step turns an ordinary procedure into a heartwarming story of human solidarity, and perhaps it's the best like in the world. Today, over 1,300,000,000 people know and use English. It is not only an official language in dozens of countries, but also the language of the internet, science, and business. This means that even if you find yourself in an unfamiliar corner of the world, the chances of being able to communicate in English are still high. It has become something like a universal translator between nations. Of course, every language has its own beauty, but English has become the bridge that connects millions of different cultures. One could say it is a true key to the global world. In the United States, sheriffs are not appointed officials, but elected positions. Unlike many countries where police chiefs are appointed by the state, in America, residents of the county elect their sheriff. The term can range from 2 to 6 years, and it is the people who decide whom to trust with maintaining order. The sheriff leads their department, hires deputies, and operates independently from the FBI or police. Today, there are about 3,500 sheriff's offices in the U.S., ranging from small ones with 2 people to large ones with thousands of employees. Thus, a sheriff is both a law enforcement officer and a politician who must earn the trust of their community. The banana plant may seem stationary, but it can actually move. Over its lifetime, it can shift about 40 centimeters. This is due to its root system. New shoots grow slightly away from the old ones, and gradually the entire plant seems to step forward. You can't see this with the naked eye, but if you speed up time, you can observe how the banana family slowly moves toward the sun. This ability helps the plant survive and find better spots for growth. It's amusing to think that even bananas, which we tend to consider simple fruits, actually have their own little secret of travelers. Who would have thought that in London, where rain is more common than sunshine, there's a real underground beach? In an old subway tunnel, an unusual space has been created. Sand, palm trees, and lighting that mimics sunset. Parties and concerts take place there, and stepping inside feels like entering a parallel reality. Above you, trains rumble by, while people sip cocktails on the shore of an underground sea. This place is like a little secret of the city. No one expects to find a beach beneath the asphalt of a metropolis. The irony is that for Londoners, it's easier to dive into the tunnel than to travel to the sea. Sometimes a word that sounds like a joke hides a very real pain in the muscles. Caripatura is a term sometimes used to refer to muscle soreness, that familiar feeling when your muscles start to ache after a workout. Scientifically, it's called delayed onset muscle soreness and occurs due to micro tears in the fibers. The body responds to the strain with inflammation to repair the tissues, which is why the muscles hurt more the next day. In everyday life, this is perceived as a punishment for exercising, but in reality, it's a sign that the body is adapting and becoming stronger. One could say that carpatura is a receipt that the body gives you for the work done. Did you know that scientists experimented with inverted glasses? In the 1890s, psychologist George Stratton gave volunteers special glasses that turned the image upside down. In the first few days, people stumbled, struggled to eat or write, but gradually the brain adapted. After a week, they were seeing the world correctly again. And when they took off the glasses, everything around them seemed inverted once more. This experiment proved that perception is not fixed. The brain can reshape our view of the world. It turns out we see reality not with our eyes, but with our minds, which will learn to interpret it. Egypt can confidently be called the oldest state in the world. Its history spans over 5,000 years, beginning with the unification of Upper and Lower Kingdoms. The pyramids, temples, and the mysterious Nile are not just beautiful images, but symbols of a civilization that laid the foundation for many cultures. Imagine, while Europe was still unaware of writing, the Egyptians were already constructing majestic tombs and writing in hieroglyphs. And even though thousands of years have passed, Egypt still holds secrets that scholars are unraveling, like the pages of the oldest book in the world. Did you know that the largest island nation is Indonesia? This country consists of more than 17,000 islands, but the exact number is still unknown even to the government. Some islands disappear underwater, while others emerge from volcanoes. Indonesia is like a living puzzle that is constantly changing. It is the largest archipelago on the planet, and its geography contributes to its diversity, from tropical beaches to dense jungles and sprawling megacities. Here, literally every area is a separate world with its own culture, language, and traditions. Regular sand can be transformed into transparent glass when heated to around 1,700 degrees. At such high temperatures, it melts and becomes a liquid mass, which solidifies into a strong and clear material upon cooling. Imagine how ordinary beach sand gives rise to windows, glasses, or stained glass in cathedrals. This was known to the ancient Egyptians, who were the first to create glass ornaments. It's remarkable that from the simplest grains we walk on barefoot, fragile beauty can be crafted that adorns homes and cities for centuries. One of the most popular traditions in the world, tea drinking, was born out of chance. Legend has it that 5,000 years ago, the Chinese Emperor Shen Nong was drinking hot water under a tree when leaves fell into his cup. The water's flavor changed, and he enjoyed the drink. Thus, tea was born. Since then, it has become a part of the culture in dozens of countries. Interestingly, billions of people start their day with this drink that was discovered by accident. It turns out that a habit we can't imagine our mornings without once originated from a simple gust of wind. In the town of Coober Pedy in southern Australia, people hide from the heat underground. There, they have not only homes, shops, and churches, but even a post office. Imagine walking into a rock and finding a regular post office inside, complete with a window, stamps, and mailboxes. Everything operates just like on the surface, except the walls are made of sandstone, and the temperature is pleasantly cool year-round. Tourists are thrilled. It's rare to send a postcard from an actual underground office. For the locals, however, it's just a part of life, a way to survive in a climate where the ground literally melts from the heat in summer. Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. You can sue for hundreds of thousands over coffee. In 1994, American Stella Liebeck burned herself with hot coffee from McDonald's. The drink was so overheated that she suffered serious burns and underwent skin graft surgeries. The court found the chain guilty. It turned out the company knowingly served coffee at a temperature that was hazardous to health. Ultimately, Liebeck was awarded $640,000 in damages. This case became a symbol of American lawsuits, but it actually highlighted how even a familiar cup of coffee can turn into a source of trouble. It turns out that the rubber snake is not just a toy, but a real animal. In Canada, there is a harmless snake with the surprising name of rubber snake. It is completely safe for humans and is even used in therapy for people with phobias. Due to its calm demeanor and soft body, it is used for gradual acclimatization to snakes. There have been no recorded cases of attacks on humans. Interestingly, the rubber snake that we usually think of as a prank toy actually exists in nature and helps people overcome their fears. Sometimes even the names of animals sound like a joke from nature. The oldest university in the world was established in the 9th century in Morocco. It was founded by a woman, Fatima Al-Fihri. She invested her inheritance in the construction of a mosque and an educational center, which became a place of knowledge for thousands of students. It's remarkable that at a time when women had very few rights, one of them created an institution that has survived for centuries. Today, Al-Qarawiyyin University is still operational and is considered the oldest in the world. Fatima's story reminds us that great changes often come from those we least expect. In a laboratory in Minnesota, there is a special room where the noise level is just 9 decibels. That's quieter than a whisper, quieter than the rustling of leaves. People who enter begin to hear their own heartbeat and even the movement of blood in their veins. Many can't last more than a few minutes. The silence feels deafening. Scientists use this room for testing equipment and hearing. But for the average person, it's more of an extreme challenge. It creates a paradox. The quieter the surroundings, the louder you sound to yourself. Fawns are born with a unique ability that helps them survive in the wild. They have no scent at all. For predators like wolves or bears, sniffing around becomes pointless. The young one remains invisible. The mother leaves her baby in the grass and walks away, returning only for feeding to avoid attracting attention from enemies. This clever tactic allows tiny fawns to stay unnoticed and have a chance to grow up peacefully. It's a remarkable example of how nature protects the most vulnerable. While we admire their spotted backs, they are masters of camouflage, with their main defense being silence and invisibility. In English, there is a record-breaking word, set. It has over 400 meanings. It all depends on the context. You can set the table, set the alarm, or set a record. The same short word can represent an action, a state, or an object. Imagine if we had a word that could mean book, to go, and bright. English is incredibly flexible in this regard, and such words make it rich and vibrant. For language learners, set is a real puzzle that requires a dictionary to navigate. In the Finnish city of Tampere, charming robots have been created for cleaning parks. They are designed like little hedgehogs, with wheels instead of paws and sensors instead of noses. These devices find and collect trash, leaving clean pathways behind. It looks as if amusing mechanical creatures are scurrying across the lawn. People enjoy watching them, turning cleanup into a show. The hedgehog robots not only maintain order, but also remind everyone that ecology can be friendly and even fun. The Finns have once again demonstrated that technology can not only assist, but also make life more pleasant and warm. The largest spider on the planet is the Goliath bird eater. Its leg span can reach 30 centimeters, and it weighs over 170 grams. This hairy giant can hunt not only insects, but also small rodents, lizards, and even chicks. When encountered, it can produce a frightening hissing sound by rubbing its legs together. Despite its fearsome appearance, its bite is not deadly to humans. It's similar to a wasp sting. However, the impression of an encounter is strong. It's like a small dog in the world of spiders. Scientists call it the king of spiders, and it's hard to argue with that. At first glance, almonds and peaches seem different. One is a nut, the other a juicy fruit. However, botanists claim they are close relatives and belong to the same rose family. Their pits have a similar structure, and the trees look alike when they bloom. The only difference is that peaches have edible flesh, while almonds are valued for their seeds. It's amusing that when we snack on a handful of almonds or enjoy a sweet peach, we are dealing with cousins. Nature is full of such surprises. Beneath the mask of differences lie familial connections that make the plant world even more fascinating and unexpected. If you take a close look at Leonardo da Vinci's most famous painting, you'll notice something strange. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. Scholars debate whether the artist intended it that way or if the eyebrows have faded over time. But this small detail makes her smile even more enigmatic. We are used to reading emotions through facial expressions, and the absence of familiar features is disorienting. It's like having a conversation with someone, but part of their words suddenly disappears. Each viewer fills in the gaps in their own way. Perhaps that's why the smile of the Gioconda is so captivating. It communicates with us through the silence of missing details. The Incas in South America built suspension bridges made of grass and vines 2,000 years ago. These woven structures connected the banks of mountain rivers and served as real roads between villages. Every year, the residents of nearby villages would reweave the ropes to ensure the bridge remained strong. Imagine, dozens of people gather, weaving ropes from grass and renewing an entire bridge as one big ritual. Despite the simplicity of the materials, these bridges could support not only people but also caravans with cargo. This is an amazing example of how engineering can emerge directly from nature. Some species of turtles can breathe through their cloaca. It sounds funny, but it's actually an important survival adaptation. During cold weather, they can be under ice, where there's almost no oxygen. That's when special cavities in the cloaca come into play, allowing them to absorb oxygen from the water. It's a sort of backup breathing. The turtle seems to say, well, if my nose and mouth aren't working, I have an alternative. This mechanism enables them to stay underwater for hours and even hibernate without coming up for air. In Norway, they came up with a strange yet fun competition, the championship for throwing frozen salmon. Imagine people gathering in a square, taking a huge fish and throwing it as far as they can. It started as a joke among fishermen, but has since become a tradition that attracts tourists from all over the world. The atmosphere is more like a celebration. Music, food, fun, and fish flying through the air. It may seem crazy, but it's these kinds of things that make a culture unique. Every country has its own quirky pastimes. Some have bulls, some have pancakes, and in Norway, there's flying salmon. The medieval chivalric order still exists and even issues its own passports. The sovereign military order of Malta, founded during the Crusades, is recognized by the international community as a sovereign entity, despite not having its own territory. The order has its own passports, stamps, and even currency, the Maltese scudo. It boasts tens of thousands of knights, volunteers, and doctors working around the globe. Many find it surprising that this medieval institution continues to thrive in modern times, preserving not only its traditions, but also real legal privileges. It stands as one of the few examples where the past and present coexist side by side. Fish are not as silent as they seem. Many species have their own ways of talking. Some tap their bones, others produce a sound similar to drumming, and some snap their teeth. These sounds help defend territory, attract mates, or simply maintain contact with the school. Underwater, there is a constant chorus, but we don't hear it due to the limitations of human hearing. If humans could perceive all these sounds, swimming underwater would feel like a real concert, with each creature performing its part. It may seem like ordinary things, but if you take a closer look, they hold the most unexpected stories. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of curiosities, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to come that textbooks have kept silent about.